welcome to what should be a primer on Taoist sitting meditation. Now, sitting meditation is not a requirement to do Tai Chi. It's just a very useful tool to essentially isolate certain aspects of Tai Chi so that you can focus just on those. Basically, where you don't have to worry about where your hands are, what your feet are doing. You can just focus on the feeling, the internal feeling in the upper body. That's literally one of the main reasons to do sitting meditation within the context of Tai Chi. There's also benefits of just doing sitting meditation all by itself. But within the context of Tai Chi, this is what I'm going to be mostly focused on, is this isolation of some of the elements that we encounter when we do the form and the exercise and all of that. So that's what this is really going to be focused on. Taoist meditation is an entire field all by itself with many different schools, different ways of doing it, which is why I don't want to go too far into the weeds into that, because unless you start identifying the specific school of Taoist meditation that you're following, you're only scratching the surface. So we will be staying at this relatively surface level for all of this, at a place which is still useful for practitioners of Tai Chi, and perhaps will give you a taste of actual Taoist meditation. So first of all, the Taoist meditation, or any meditation, starts as a physical exercise, and this is something that people sometimes skip over. It's a physical practice. And by that I mean that you have to do it correctly. You have to align the body correctly. You have to practice various warm-ups and exercises in order to do it correctly. Otherwise, you're going to develop a lot of pain in the body, which is not what you want. So first and foremost is the sitting position. In this case, I am sitting on a pillow. And this is very important because what we want to do is to have this nice upright posture, which means that what we're trying to do is to have the spine be nice and vertical so that the head is supported by the spine and the weight of the head goes through the spine and into the ground through the sit bones. Now the problem is that if you're not sitting on a pillow, or if you haven't raised your hips slightly, depending of course on the flexibility of your joints, if you're just sitting, for a lot of people would be sitting like this, and you can see that if I'm just sitting down, I'm rolling the back. There's a tendency to roll the back, and now my tailbone is pointing back there when I want to be upright. Now it is possible to sit upright, right, without a pillow, but it means that I have to engage my belly, to engage these muscles in order to essentially pull myself up. And in doing so, I contract the muscles and the belly, so then now I can't really breathe in a relaxed way. So it's important, especially at the beginning, to sit either on a pillow cushion, you can sit on your shoes if you're in a park, just to raise the back of the head, which allows the pelvis to tilt and be pointing straight up. So now I don't have to engage my core muscles in order to be upright. The angle of my hips themselves are such that the spine wants to go along the vertical, straight up and down, right? So that's the first thing. So you want to find the correct height of a pillow. It could be 2. For women, you tend to need to have more of a rise actually than for men because of the angles of the hips. So don't be afraid of finding the height that you need in order that you can relax, right? You can relax the belly and the hips are at the correct angle already without you having to engage any muscles. Now the other thing is we want to have the knees as low to the ground as possible. Now that's because what we're trying to create is a triangle, right? So between the sit bones and the knee, you want to have these 3 points of contact with the ground. If you're sitting cross-legged like this, that's pretty good, except that you can see that my knees are not touching anything and my weight is actually on the feet. So that's actually not very stable. You can add pillows on either side if you want, so that you can be back here, and now my knee is actually resting on the pillow, so now I have that point of contact. So it's better to do that and put pillows underneath in order to have that point of contact, rather than sitting cross-legged where your feet are the point of contact. Also, you can start cutting off the blood flow to your feet. I'm sitting right now, I believe this is a Thai style of cross-leggedness. Notice all I've done is basically brought my foot here and then bring the other one here. So my feet are not resting one on top of the other. They're both sideways. If you can also do, this is the hard one, which is the full lotus where the feet are crossed. But again, this is a very stable position because I don't have to now worry about the legs. Everything is stable, spine is vertical. I can forget about the lower body. I'm in a stable position. All I have to do is think about what's happening in the body, right? This can be stressful if you don't have the flexibility. I find this to be far more comfortable. There's also half lotus where you put the other leg on top, which is also a possibility. I find this to be the most comfortable and stable. So I just come here. So now I have a nice triangular base, right? So I'm nice and stable. Spine is nice and vertical. The arms can rest on the knees. And there's different, every group, whether in a Buddhist meditation, Taoist meditation, you also have Hindu meditation, or there's mudras, there's all sorts of things like that. We're not going to talk about that right now, but basically you want to find a place where your hands are, or here, where your shoulders are relaxed. That's what you're going for, right? Nice relaxed shoulders. And you can, once again, kind of forget about the arms, that your arms and shoulders are nice and relaxed, here or here. And you can just forget about them. They'll just rest there. Shoulders are relaxed. The head is nice and tall. By that, I mean that the neck is lifted. Right? So the chin is slightly tucked, which lengthens the back of the neck. And this is to remove the pinch where the spine and the skull meet. Right? So the spine is lengthened. Right? And they talk about sometimes it's like you're being held by a string pulling you up. But you want to find that place that does not require you to tense up and hold you up, right? It's the opposite. We want to relax as much as possible. So everything is done to relax, right? And you can feel it. Once you're in the right position, right? Everything is stacked. Everything is expanded. And then the body can relax. And one thing you'll notice, because your belly can expand when you breathe, right? So when you take a breath in, belly expands. When you breathe out, belly comes in. It's nice and relaxed. So when you're here, belly expands, belly contracts. Belly expands, belly contracts. I'm exaggerating, obviously. But you want to have that sensation of release, of relaxation in the belly. That's really what you're going for. So when you're here, right, everything can just drop. You can feel heavy, shoulders can feel heavy, and the weight of the shoulders goes through the spine into the ground. The weight of the head goes through the spine and into the ground. Everything just flows down, and you can truly relax. So there's no tension in the body. Your posture itself is what holds you up. Now, the other thing is, getting into the right posture takes time. So give yourself a break. Get into that position and give yourself a few minutes, give yourself a good dozen breaths to find the right position. I find myself sometimes to realize, oh wait, my shoulders are up. Oh, I need to relax them. Or that I didn't lengthen my spine enough. And you can feel there's a difference between kind of releasing everything so much that you're collapsing and aligning everything up so you're actually nice and tall, but relaxed. And I find often it's the position of my head where you have to figure out, are you leaning forward too much, or are you leaning back, so there's tension. And finding the right spot, that can take a while. So just give yourself a good dozen breaths to finally settle. And once your body's in the right place, now your mind can go in the right place. Right? So that's what I was saying, it's a physical exercise at the base. Right? You want to treat it as such. It's not just, I'm going to sit in some weird position and focus on something. No, first, find your position, find your body. Use your breath as a guide. And by that I mean, take nice deep breaths, nice and relaxed. Find the places that have tension that are preventing you from breathing, but also find the places that are collapsed, Where if you're here and you can feel that, now your lungs are pushing against your chest because your chest is collapsed, so it's preventing you from breathing. And so that's why here, the correct position is up here. Now my breath is relaxed. So breathe, find the places that are tense, find the places that are relaxed, find the places that are compressed, find the places that are open. And you'll find it's the breath itself which will guide you into the right position. Like if you're tucked in too much, there's constriction in the throat, so you can feel that. So it's like, oh no, here. And this tall, elongated spine position, you'll find out that is actually the one that feels the most open. That's when you can truly relax, truly breathe in a relaxed state. And that's all you have to do. Right? So use your body, use your breath as a reference point to figure out where exactly you should be sitting, how exactly you should be sitting. Okay? So again, treat it as a physical exercise first. Pay attention to the body. Place the body in the right position. And it will change. Some days this is the comfortable position, some days it's this. Or you start like this and then you realize that this position is pulling you in a forward or backward. This simply doesn't quite work after a few minutes, so you change your hands. So allow, for a few minutes of adjustments. It's normal. Don't pick a position and go, oh, I can't move now because I'm stuck, because I'm not allowed to move. No, you're allowed to move. Create the space, create the position, create the alignment. Once you have the alignment, now you're starting to meditate. Now the physical aspect, the physical portion of the setting up is done, but it can take a while. And once you're here, once you've found that position, now you just breathe, right? And you breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Tongue floats up, touches the roof of the mouth. You can also just, depending on what's most relaxed for you, you can also just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Whatever is going to allow you to have a nice, soft breath. That's the most important part, right? Nice, relaxed breath, so the air simply flows in and out. Right? Sometimes called the invisible breath, in the sense that you're not creating a sound, you're not forcing anything, simply air goes in, air goes out. That's it. Relaxed. Nice and relaxed and natural. You don't have to think about it. The only thing that's important is that as you breathe in, belly goes out, because you're giving more space for your lungs to be filled. And as you breathe out, belly goes in. It doesn't force the air out. It's simply that as the air goes out, the diaphragm rises, belly goes back in. Breathing through the belly also brings your attention to the lower dantian, so that you start really feeling that the center of all of this is the lower dantian, which is down here, right? So you can also do all of this while sitting in a chair. So the same principles would apply. It just means that now you're sitting in a chair. Just make sure that you're sitting on the front edge of the chair so that your back is not against the backrest. Most chairs are designed to essentially guide you in a certain position, right? Where your spine is meant to lean against the back of the chair, so your spine is not vertical. So the way to counteract that is to sit on the edge of the chair, so that once again you can have your hips tilted in a way that your spine is nice and vertical. That's going to be the important part. So find a chair where when you sit, your thighs are essentially horizontal, your feet can be right below your knees, you're sitting comfortable, and same thing. You can have your hands here, you can have your hands on your knees, they'll be in front. But you want the same exact thing. You're trying to find the orientation of the hips so that your tailbone points straight up, so that your spine is nice and vertical, the head is supported by the spine, and all the other principles apply. It's just that you're sitting in a chair, okay? Same thing, you can also put a pillow. Don't be afraid of, meditation and any of these exercises are not a contest. It's not about who can suffer the most. It's the opposite. You want to be nice and comfortable. pillow on your chair. If it's too hard, you know, just find a place where you can be comfortable. You don't want the blood to not be flowing because you're sitting on a hard chair or a hard surface. Sit on a pillow. There's no need to suffer. This is not a contest. Nobody gets to win a prize for suffering. But once you're here, you're nice and relaxed. Now you can do several things. And you can do all of them within the practice of a meditation. The meditation should start and end in the same way. And that way is simply paying attention. So once you find your spot, right? You're like, okay, I'm properly aligned, everything is good. Just bring your attention to the body. Not just the breath, to the body, the whole body. And here what we want to have is a very gentle awareness of the body. So this is not the fixed point that we'll see later. This is a broad, open awareness. It's just a way of just be aware. Be in your body. Be aware of how your body feels. If a thought arises, let it go. Don't give it weight. Don't think about it. Just let it go and bring the attention back to this whole body attention. If you find tension in the body, release it. Find the muscles that are tight and just let them go. The eyes are open, looking roughly down. And allow the information that you receive from your eyes to just be soft, right? So you're not focused on anything, but the eyes are slightly open so that we don't fall asleep, right? And this is not you're not engaging your imagination or anything like that. So we want to be conscious of the present moment, which is why the eyes are open, and the focus is simply on how do we feel? How does the body feel? Is there tension? Where's the tension? And once we've done a few minutes of that, we can now start bringing a more focused attention. The easiest to simply start focusing on the breath and start focusing on how the breath moves up and down, in and out into the body. Right? So as we breathe in, hoping that breath goes into the belly, right, goes down, and then out. In and out. This is the very beginning of meditation. So we're not yet dealing with moving chi around or anything like that. Simply getting to the habit of sitting, pay attention to the body, pay attention to the breath, paying attention to the motion of the breath, moving up and down, from the head to the belly, back to the head. And just do that for a few minutes. If a thought arises, let it go. Again, don't even waste a judgment on the thought. You don't have to think about, is this a good thought or a bad thought? You don't have to judge the fact that a thought is happening. Thoughts will arise. Let them go. Right? Just focus on the sensation, the feeling of the breath. Again, we want to be in the moment. Right? Eyes are open, looking down 45 degrees. And then soften, after a few minutes of that, soften the feeling, soften the focus and the attention, so that you go back to the whole body. And just sit there for a few minutes, just relaxing. Just relaxing the mind, relaxing the body, taking the feeling of being present, of being here, of being in your body. And then come back to the moment. And that's it. That can be it in terms of meditation. That can be as far as you go, and that's all you need to do. But before we unfold ourselves, all right, because depending on how long you've sit, your legs can be asleep. So we're gonna pound them down the side, back up the inside, and then pound on the kidneys, and then down the side, back to the inside, pound the kidneys, pound the side, and the side. Right, and then just run your hand over your head. Maybe tap with your fingertips the base of your skull. This is just to kind of wake up the energies, loosen them up. So if there's anything that's been clogged or stuck gets solved here, we want to bang the legs. Make sure that blood flows back into the feet, into the legs before we attempt to stand up again, because otherwise you can stand up and fall flat on your face. All right? So that's the simplest way of doing sitting meditation. Again, think of it as a physical exercise first. Bring your mind in general to the body, then the mind to the breath, then the mind back to the body, then wake the body up, and then you're done. Okay? That's it.